Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY. It's time for Damian on Design with Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group. This is a little different twist
It is,
on
isn't it?
design today.
Yeah.
This is
That's great.
audible design.
Yeah. Yeah, this is sound as art, or art as sound.
Correct.
You know, it's it's something different. It's
I love
exciting.
this.
Yeah.
All right.
Where art meets audio.
Noah Kaplan is the third voice in the room. He is president and founder of Leon Speakers, Inc. I did not know this company was in Ann Arbor.
We are a local company. We're literally right around the block from the radio station, so it was a very easy trip to come.
Where are you exactly?
We're on State and Ellsworth, right near the Ann Arbor Airport, so it was a pleasant trip to
Now,
get over here.
you came here to go to art school at the U of M?
I did. I studied life drawing, painting, and design. I did not know, of course, during that time that I would end up running and owning a speaker company, but such is life.
How did that happen?
So, when I graduated from art school, I instantly wanted to be an artist. I never really had any other thoughts in my mind except being an artist. So, I made a few phone calls, and then I received a phone call from a friend at the Ann Arbor Athletic Department who was an artist, and he said, "Hey, Noah, do you know how to draw portraits?" And I said, "Yeah, I can draw portraits." He said, "Good, because I just accepted a job drawing portraits, and I have no idea how to draw portraits." So I ended up going to a meeting with my portfolio in hand. I was about 21 years old, and I said, "Hey, I can draw these portraits." And they gave me 40 portraits to draw for the University of Michigan Scholar Athlete Program. So
Oh, really?
kept me in Ann Arbor, kept me busy and working. Of course, I would draw all day and play music all night. Drawing is fun. It was my
Isn't there a
trade.
song, Draw All Day?
Hey, draw all day, paint all night, and that transforms. Of course, you also have to have much fun doing
That's
all
right,
that stuff.
that's right.
So, but art is kind of solemn. So, music for me was my social life. So again, we would record music, we would play music, and eventually, after I got that commission, I started getting other commissions. Drew everything from angels on ceilings to Jesus in Chelsea. Big gigantic murals. I was an art man.
He's arrived in Chelsea.
He has arrived. But the beauty there was I started really collaborating with amazing engineers and other musicians and international talents. There's amazing people in Ann Arbor. One of my mentors was from China, one of the world's greatest painters, so I was there to learn.
My goodness. Now, you and Damian are collaborating on a project
We are.
out in Barton Hills.
We are. Yeah.
We are absolutely. It was a great meeting we just had. That's why I
And it's an internal renovation, doing nothing to the exterior of this house. So I think one of the art form here is in two parts that I see in this particular project. One is the art of concealing. We're all used to seeing speakers mounted on walls with the surround sound and so on. And what Noah has done is moved way beyond that. So the art of concealment, if you will, but then also with this art background, the ability to create sculpture that gives out sound or that carries speakers, to put it.
I grew up in a house, and this is where I learned this from. My mother would hide everything. She didn't even like to look at light switches, so there would be decorative, beautiful items over them, and everything would be hidden. And I don't even like to see vents on walls. I know they need to be there, and it drives me crazy when they have to be up at the top there. What do you do with sound and speakers and that technology that you can create kind of a artistic look to it?
That's a great question. First of all, we think of sound as part of the architecture. So just like you, in the States, definitely concealment is the only way, especially in luxury home, to sort of put sound where it needs to be, and also to create sort of a luxury flavor and feel. Sound is part of your personality, so it's super important, especially for modern design. So what we like to do is look for design elements within the house. What kind of grills are they? For instance, we just did a job in New York where they had all iron, wrought iron Reggio grills. So we had a blacksmith actually make all the grills, and we hid all the speakers in the rough cut ceiling.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
how beautiful. You're doing a project downtown right now, or you put one in a new restaurant called Lena.
Lena, that was a fun project in that they sort of gave us carte blanche design. And we
Right.
met with the architects early on,
Yeah.
much like we met with Damian the other day. And the design changed multiple times, and we're used to that. We like change. We're used to retrofit jobs. But we sort of pulled a bunch of the design elements from the job. And of course, we're on the radio, so you can't see, but we built a pretty substantial sound sculpture in the front entrance. You know, we wanted it to sort of mimic some of the design elements in the space. So, you know, most of the space was really well made, artesian quality black walnut. So we used multiple forms of walnut ply. We used plaster in the piece. We embedded speakers, and we also added lighting to it. So sort of as an undulating piece, we wanted to have multiple lights.
It's so cool.
It is beautiful.
And this is in where Parthenon Restaurant used to be, is the
Correct.
new Lena
Yeah,
restaurant.
right.
So people will be greeted by this right when they walk in.
Yeah, and that was sort of the point, to like sort of make a design statement at the head of the restaurant. So when you walk in, it's like, hey, where are we? So showing the people that they do have their eye on design. And then the rest of the place, to speak to your concept before, is all hidden within, you know, the furniture and the fixtures.
It's you remember John Kotarski talking on our show last week about the delight and the elements of surprise.
Right.
And I think to go into space and have music playing and not know
Where it's coming
where
from.
it's coming
Yeah,
from,
yeah.
but be surrounded by it still and sort of enveloped in it.
Yeah.
Not in the necessarily, well, there's still a place for the home theatre,
Always
but
a
now this is a supplemental part of living, of everyday living.
Yeah.
Much different from, remember when the first time you went into a house where you realized there was a throughout the home speaker system.
Right.
And you could put the radio through
Yeah,
or whatever. And
correct.
things, it's much different than that.
It's so
things-
exciting with
things-
the technology, yeah.
It is, because content has become amazing. You can get almost anything at your fingertips. You know, you can control the whole house with an iPad or iTouch, you know, and you could have access to almost every radio station in the world at this point for almost no money, which all of a sudden makes a great case for how are you listening to it? What does it say about you? What does the sound say about you in general? And we hope it speaks to your soul, because that's what music's all about. So, you know, creating some kind of palette of products that people can build into their houses, that's our main priority at Leon. You know?
How easy is it to hide sound?
Great question again. There's a ton of things you have to consider when you're hiding it, like how tall is the space? How big is it? Where are the people going to be sitting? Who are you entertaining there? And then how deep are the walls? So often we'll have to do complete build-outs like Damian and I talked about at the meeting. Hey, can we get a little more depth here and maybe frame the TV so we can get some high-quality sound underneath the television? Because a lot of what we do is try to hide sound right in plain sight. So one of our biggest products that we sell, the thing we're most known for, is called the sound bar. Which is a 3-channel speaker that is built to match any TV. Remember, it used to be where speakers were everywhere. But me, from a design side, said, I don't think that's really going to go well, especially next to a plasma TV in a luxury home. So we decided to build all the speakers into 1 channel. But I also wanted it to match exactly the look of the TV. So to this day, we still build thousands of custom-built left, center, right speakers to hide right on the bottom of the TV. So if you look in these books, or if you look at what we build, so boom, all of a sudden you have the sound right when you're looking at the TV. So it gives us some design.
When you do that, if you want to create surround sound,
Yeah.
then what are you doing to add to that?
Then we had to come up with sort of the in-ceiling premise, but and the in-wall premise. But again, I don't like the look of the normal standard grills. So at the very least, we like them to be either matching the shape of the light fixtures, you know, and we'll paint them to match the ceiling so they almost go away, or we literally flush mount them and build them right into the millwork.
We're talking with Noah Kaplan, president and founder of Leon Speakers, Inc., which is based here in Ann Arbor. He's from New York originally, right?
Indeed.
And came here to go to school at art school and stayed. We love those people when they
Very
stay here. And give them the opportunity to be able to do what they do so well. Damian Farrell from Damian Farrell Design Group, and Damian and Noah are working on a project together currently. Tell us about the chandelier.
Ooh.
I
Man,
love
was a dream.
Man, it's my
Absolutely.
dream.
Yes,
I
you
love
did.
chandeliers.
Oh yeah, so you know, like we were talking about before, you know, the thought of sound sculpture became extremely important to me. It sort of says everything that speaks to the vision of Leon Speakers. You know, how can we not only combine art with audio, but how is art and audio actually, how we make them become one? So what we worked on for the project in Barton Hills was a sound chandelier of sorts, you know, where it would literally fill an enormous space. There's 17-foot ceilings, so that means we need some serious power there, but we wanted to sort of envelop the listener and to let him to be able to entertain the whole space at once. So the thought of the sound pouring down like light, and you know, being able to really fill up that large of a space, and then really to hide it within the design that Damian came up with, which is amazing because it allows for one area where I could see just gnarly materials that we can really build in. So hopefully the client will let us have our way.
Well, it's a challenging space because it's a U-shaped space that goes all the way to the ceiling, and it's divided by the fireplace. So the fireplace really is the only element that goes all the way up. But if you take the center of a U, that's really all solid up to a certain height. And then there's a big volume above that to this sloping ceiling that starts at about 8 foot and goes up to about 17 foot out where the view is. So acoustically a difficult space because the outside wall is all glass because the view is incredible and it's concave, which concave is obviously going to focus sound and noise back to one spot. And so that's going to be a challenge as well.